Levi Strauss. And he developed what's called structuralism. And this is an emphasis on the universal patterns of human thinking and how these patterns provide culture. In other words, what is the effect of the human mind on organizing the material world? And I love that type of thinking. It's like there's a raw world out there, but humanity has like this template that we're superimposing with our minds onto the world to provide meaning and structure. And so that's structuralism. Humans are bringing meaning and structure to the world. But you see how well this lines up with the definition of humanism. Humanism, all the way back to the ancient Greeks and Protagoras, we have him rolling out, man is the measure of all things. We've come full circle from the ancient Greeks into the modern period, where many secular humanists today would also say man is the highest evolved part of the earth or life form that we know. So humans should be the ones to get to say, what is the good? What is the true? What is the beautiful? What has value? What doesn't? And that's definitely kind of the position the authors of our textbook are taking. Interpretive anthropology, an emphasis is placed on the uniqueness of each culture, a description and documentation of the various aspects of being human. And once again, this is kind of more into the cultural relativist camp, where you're simply observing and reporting. You're not making value judgments, saying this is a good culture, an advanced culture, a weak culture. You're not making those, you're just reporting on what the culture's about. And the authors in this book are definitely affected by the postmodern world we're living in. I think we all are to one degree or another. And so they're really going to try to go beyond either or type thinking. And the postmoderns, like many in the East or Eastern thought, are looking for a synthesis. So instead of talking about black and white, the synthesis would be gray. So, and gray is both and, it's black and white. Does that make sense? So that's kind of where the book's headed. They're going to try to find synthesis between idealist and materialist, between different cultures and different theories. And they're going to try to give you descriptions in between here somewhere. And that concludes chapter 4. Woohoo! Any questions or comments?
I feel like that also like relates to our church today, because like we have very like left-wing type churches or right-wing, and by that I mean like churches that are like very charismatic and based solely on spirituality, and then churches that are like solely just word-based. And like, yeah, so I just feel like that it's interesting how that's reflective of the kinds of churches that we have today.
Right, and so the ideal postmodern church would be one that takes scriptures seriously and learns and values the scripture, but also embraces the spirit, right? It's a both and. It's not like you have to have one or the other. And I think you probably see that among yourselves, even among your peers, where you don't feel like you have to choose anymore. You can have both. Why can't I have the spirit and the Bible? It's not like I have to swap one out for the other, especially if one is the author of the other, right? Okay, thank you. That was a good example.